Look right here, guys. Somebody's up here taking a nap. What you doing, Cabbage? Sawmill friends, it's Friday, coming to you today from a different location. This is the back corner of my garage, and it's where I work on the chainsaws. I've got several workbenches back here and all the parts to the chainsaws and all my tools. We'll do a proper chainsaw video here in a few weeks showing you guys my setup here. So I've been on YouTube now since about 2015 making these videos, and one question I get in every single video is what kind of camera are you using, or what kind of drone are you using on your videos? Well, today, guys, I'm going to answer that question finally after all these requests I've been getting for the past few years. That way in the future, when that question comes up, I'll just point back to this video. But every camera that I use here at the Sawmill, guys, on these videos is right here in this pack, other than the one I'm talking to right now. One disclaimer before we get going, guys. I know this is going to be a shock to everybody, but I am not a camera expert by no means. I know I look like somebody that knows a lot about cameras. I'm really not. Autofocus is my best friend, put it that way. And it's kind of funny, one of the main parts of our sawmill business now is making this YouTube content, and cameras is something I know hardly anything about. And a lot of YouTubers I've talked to have had the same answer to that. I've asked them what their camera knowledge is, if they've ever taken classes, and most of them say, nope, I hit autofocus and I tell a story, which is what I try to do here, guys. That's probably the best way of doing stuff. So in today's video, if I mention something on a camera and it's not the right term, look over me. This country boy from Tennessee is doing the best he can, and he hits autofocus every time he turns the camera on. So stick here with me, guys. We'll go over these cameras, and I'll show you guys also where I get them at. All right, friends, let's get into it here. I put a towel down on the workbench just to keep my cameras kind of clean. Got a bunch of oil on the workbench today. I was doing some chainsaw work this morning. So the first camera, guys, is the DJI Osmo action camera right there. This is a really good camera. If I can bring it up there, let you guys see it there decently. And it's pretty inexpensive. These are just a couple $100s on Amazon. And everything I show you guys today, I'll leave a link to my Amazon store, because most of the equipment here I did buy through Amazon. That's about the cheapest place to find stuff nowadays. And I hate leaving home, so they bring it to me. It's even better. But this is an Osmo action camera. It does have an external microphone, or internal microphone rather. Got that mixed up. But it's not that great, so you're going to need a microphone for this to make it work properly if it's going to be a primary camera. I use this for B-roll footage, and I also use it a lot for vlogging style stuff when I'm walking around the sawmill with the camera in my hand. It shoots in 4K, although I shoot everything in 1080p. I don't do 4K at all. I've tried that in the past, and I had just issues while trying to upload. But this is a really good camera. It's light, it's really small, it's really heavy duty. It's not waterproof, but I've dropped it several times at the sawmill and it's working just fine. The battery life is pretty good. I bought an extra battery, but I usually charge it through the selfie stick, and I'll show you that in just a second. But this is a little cage that goes on it, and that's another thing you need for this little camera right here, is a proper cage to go around it to mount it to anything you want to put it on, because it doesn't do very well just standing up by itself. It's not waterproof either like the GoPro is. But it's a really good camera. Like I said, it's a couple $100s. If you're just getting into videos, you can't go wrong with this camera right here. You can do a lot of stuff with it. I know my buddy Tony, I think he runs about 3 of these. And something else to add here, friends, I have never had a failure with this camera. I've never had a malfunction. I've never lost footage or anything like that. It's always performed 100% of the time the way it's supposed to perform. It's been a really good camera. Now, if you have that camera, you need a microphone. Here is an external microphone. This is a Rode right here. It's a mini microphone. Comes with this little, I think they call that a dead rat or something like that, or I can't remember what they call this little thing here, but it's a windscreen. Maybe they call it a rat or something. It goes over the microphone there because, you know, it's windy up here at the sawmill, and this does help just a little bit. And you got to have this little adapter right here. And like I said, guys, I'll link all this stuff on my Amazon store if you're interested in it. This stuff is cheap. This adapter is maybe $15. The microphone's maybe $40. Don't quote me on that. It's been about a year since I bought this stuff, but I think I'm pretty close on that. And you just pretty much just hook it into the code shoe right there and you're ready to go. And I hope the lighting in here is pretty good, guys. I'm trying to get a pretty good video here for you guys that's been asking about this stuff. You come in with this adapter and plug it into the side of the camera, and you also have a charging port right below that adapter so you can still charge it up while it's running. And that's important if you have a selfie stick with a battery charger on it, which is what I have. Here's the selfie stick, guys. It's got a little tripod kind of on the bottom. It doesn't work too great though, it's kind of flimsy. The main thing is just holding it in your hand when you're doing some vlogging style stuff. Has a battery in here. It will charge that camera several times. There's your input, or your output rather, on both sides right here. And it screws to your camera case just like that. And you're good to go, guys. That right there is a really inexpensive vlogging setup. I'm not sure, but I think you can do all this for probably less than $300. It's a really good setup right there, guys. And you can do a lot of video work with this setup right here by itself. And this is all you need if you're just getting into YouTube or making videos for Instagram or whatever. That setup right there will get you going, guys. And it's not really expensive. And DJI, who makes this camera, is not some, you know, pushover camera company. They make some of the nicest drones in the world. They make the drone that I use here at the Sawmill. We'll show that here in just a second. Something else, if I get this thing turned on, to point out to you guys. So right here in the back, you got your viewfinder, and there's all your settings. You can do slow motion with this camera. It's got the rot steady, or the, what's that called? Let me see here to make sure, guys. Yeah, the rot steady function. So you can pretty much run with this thing in your hand and it stays steady. But something I really like about it is there's the viewfinder on the back, and if you're vlogging, you know, that's all you see. But you tap that with your fingers, and the viewfinder is now on the front. That's really handy right there to see what you're recording. I hate having a camera that I can't look at it and see what I'm recording, because you never know if it's going to be straight or not. It's a really good feature with this camera. Like I said, guys, this is probably the best value camera out there for shooting high quality video. I don't think you would beat this at the price. Even with all these accessories, you still can't beat it. It's a good price, guys. And real fast, this is not a sponsored video or nothing like that. All the stuff you will see here today, I paid with my own money. I wish one of these companies sponsored me, but they don't, because cameras can get expensive. Let's move on. All right, friends, the second camera of the day. Now, real fast, I have 5 cameras total here at the Sawmill. That's including the drone and the cell phone. So here's the second camera, and this is a GoPro, I think it's a 7, yeah, GoPro 7 Black. A really good camera right here, guys. It's waterproof. You can bounce this thing around. I've dropped it several times up at the Sawmill. Works just fine. Has some kind of stabilization in it as well, and I'm able to mount this to the Sawmill most of the time, and it's pretty clear. It shoots in 4K and all that stuff, but I just do 1080 100% of the time, like I was saying earlier. That's really the best format I found for shooting video for YouTube. This camera right here, guys, does pretty good if you set it up by itself, but it really needs a mount, especially on the Sawmill. This right here is what I found to be the best mount for it. It's got a cage on the top that locks it down. It also has holes all around it, which does not cover the microphone. Even though the microphone's not that great, it still comes in decent through this cage. And the most important thing on it is this magnet here at the bottom. I can use this right here to mount this camera to the Sawmill or the tractor just about anywhere with limited vibration and get some decent footage most of the time. It does have several issues. Every once in a while, I'll lose footage on this thing. It will turn itself off, or sometimes you can't turn it on without taking the battery out and putting it back in several times. I have owned several GoPros, guys, and they've always had that same issue with just getting kind of stuck. The processor shuts down, and unless you take this battery out of the bottom of it and put it back in, it kind of resets itself. But it's a good camera, and I will still use it even though it does have those issues right there, because for the quality and the price, you can't beat it. It's a good camera. Another camera that I use a lot of the time is my iPhone. This is an iPhone X. Has a really good camera on it, although this is going on about 2 years old. And I've noticed here lately the battery life is starting to go down on it, and a lot of the features are kind of not so great anymore. It's kind of like iPhones. I've had several of them, and it seems like after the first year or two of having them, they start going down in quality and by function. And they probably do that on purpose so you'll buy a new one, I'm assuming. In this camera right here, I get more questions about than probably any other camera on the channel. And this is my drone, and yes, it is that small. This is a little carrying case for it. It's a DJI Mavic Air, and this thing is awesome, guys. It cost me about $800. I bought it about, maybe, I'd say about 3 years ago. It's been a great drone, guys, and I tell you, it never ever has failed me, guys. Works every time. Now this is the same company that makes the other camera I showed you a few minutes ago, the DJI Osmo. Same company right there. This camera's never failed, and neither has this one right here. It shoots in 4K. I have it set up for 1080p like everything else. It's a really good drone, guys. The only downside that it would have, and it's not really a downside because most drones of this size have the same problem, is the battery life. You can fly this thing for about 15 minutes or so, and you got to bring it in to land it, or it will try to land itself. But it's a really good drone. It has the follow me feature. A lot of people asked on the videos who's running the drone. 90% of the time this drone is running itself. I can find myself on the screen. I use my phone and a hand controller to get this thing up in the air, and I can usually find myself on there and highlight it, and this thing will follow me anywhere. It's ridiculous how this thing does. It just follows you and follows you. It doesn't care if there's trees around you or nothing like that. Now, something really interesting about this drone, guys, is it has these little sensors all around it that keep it from flying into stuff. If I aim this for a tree, it will stop. And it won't let me go no further. It will detect something in front of it and stop it cold right there. And the same thing for up and down. That's a really good feature with the drone, because the number one problem I've seen over the years with drones are people crashing them. And with that feature, it's kind of hard to crash it. You can turn that feature off, but Lord, why would you? Saves you a lot of hassle right there. Never had any trouble out of the lens right here. The camera works great. You can move it all around when you're flying. Just a great drone, guys, and I think it's probably cheaper than it was a few years ago. This is in my Amazon store as well. You can go check that out if you're interested in it. They have different ones since then. They've probably come out with a better one since then, but this one's hard to beat, guys. And the size of it, you know, there's my hand comparison right there for the carrying case. You can take this with you anywhere. It's not going to take up a lot of room. But another thing to show, this is the controller for it. It expands like that. You put your cell phone right here and you can see what you're videoing. Got some antennas that come up. Got some little handles that screw on right here, and here's your cable that connects it, and it automatically connects to the drone with the DJI app. Works really well. Battery life on this is great, guys. 2-3 charges a year and you're good to go. I do have 2 batteries for this drone though. That way if I'm going to fly it 2-3 times in one day, I don't have to do any recharging. I can just go ahead and put a new battery in it and I'm good to go. Something else here, guys, that I don't use very often, but man, it is nice to have when you need it, and that is this right here. This is a Rodelink wireless microphone. Right here's the top piece that goes to the top of your camera, and the code shoe has a lot of settings right here. I don't fool with that. I just put it on normal and let it ride. This one right here goes to your person, has a cord that connects right here. It goes to a microphone. I usually hide it under my beard. I know that's a shocker when I do use this thing, but it's been a while since I have used it. But the reception is outstanding. I think you can be like maybe 100 yards away and still get decent audio with this. It works really well. I just don't use it as much as I probably should because it's a pain to set up. You got to put this on your camera, hide this cord on you, put it in your back pocket. You know, it's easier just to use the shotgun microphone on the camera most of the time. But it's really good to have, guys. It takes AA batteries, and it's like $200 or $300, something like that. These are not cheap, and they're kind of hard to find. Extra batteries right there. I got an extra drone battery, extra batteries for the Osmo, a 9-volt for the microphones, Canon, GoPro battery. I also got some Sony batteries for an old Sony action camera I don't even use anymore. I need to get these out of here, I guess. Like me, guys, sometimes you'll hit that record button and walk off. 2 hours later, you come back to that camera, the battery is empty and the memory card is full. So make sure you have charged batteries ready to go, and also some extra memory cards. I have about 2 memory cards for every camera on hand at all times. I am now filming with the iPhone, so look over the audio issues. It may not be as good. Right there is my Canon 77D DSLR. That's my primary camera. You got a Rode mic right there on the top. This is a really good microphone. It's got different settings right there. A really good microphone, guys. It's probably the most popular Rode microphone out there for YouTubers. Really good camera. It's been having issues here lately because it's getting kind of old. You know, a couple of years on these things and you wear them out, especially up at a sawmill. It does have the viewfinder, which is a must on cameras nowadays, so you can put it out there and see what you're recording. And the battery life is really good. One more thing, guys, I need to show you all this Manfrotto tripod. This thing cost about $300, but it is bulletproof. You can pan with it. It's got different settings right there to make it easier or harder to twist the camera around. It never falls over unless you knock it with the sawmill. And it's really reliable, guys. It's stable. The wind doesn't move it. It's heavy duty. It's not light, but it's not too heavy to where you complain about it all day. And it's worth every penny, guys. You gotta have a good tripod if you got a camera going. And you cannot go wrong with these Manfrottos. That was an expensive purchase, but it was well worth it. And one more thing here, guys. You gotta have somewhere to put all this gear. And I've been using a, what are those things called? A Pelican case for the past 5 or 6 years. But man, that thing's heavy and just takes up a lot of room. You can't put it in the tractor, it's too big. So I switched over a few weeks ago to this right here. This is a Mystery Ranch. I think it's the 2-day assault pack. And this thing is awesome, guys. It has all kinds of zippers and compartments and stuff like that. It's expensive. I paid about $200 for it, but so far it's been worth every penny. It's waterproof and it has a place for all my cameras and everything, guys. I really like this backpack. Like I was saying earlier, guys, everything you all saw in the video today, I bought with my own money. There's nothing sponsored here. Even this expensive backpack I bought a few weeks ago. And like I said, this thing was $200, but worth every penny. It's protecting a lot of expensive camera equipment. I'm going to link everything below to my Amazon store, and you may find it cheaper on eBay or somewhere else, but that would give you a list of stuff that I use here at the sawmill to make these videos. And it will finally answer that question of what kind of cameras do I use. So thanks for watching, guys. We'll come back tomorrow and get back on the sawmill. Did I mention how much I like this backpack? I bought 2 of them. I got 2 of these things. Nice stuff. Catch you later, guys. Thanks for watching.